Okay, I'm leaving it. Hands off. Right, welcome to the stream, guys. Attempt number two. This time we actually have a camera, microphones, and a new guest. The only question is, what subject are we talking about first?
I think that the main point we were talking earlier, it's with all the last updates on the game, how will be to the free players or the low spenders, how they will keep the game experience, if they can have fun, if they will ruin that game experience at all, what will be good for them, what will keep the same.
So, for free to play players, it's gonna be shit. Thank you for joining the stream. See you guys in the
That's
next one.
Uh,
Uh,
I was talking yesterday with some friends, and I see that we have a problem being built to the future players. Is the gap is too big. We had the power to give it until 2 3 seasons ago was almost impossible to a single player or a small group of players dictate a ID map guarantee the winning, like we had with. We can see a strong team but by placing 2 3 castles with high lofty specialty points, and nobody can remove them from where they were if they have a good amount of food. So that seems to me a very powerful gap, and I don't know if how would be to the gaming experience at all manage that. They will always need to be real careful to don't place a very big imbalance of gap of balancing
they don't
about
have
to
that
spend.
word in Rise of Empires, the word balance.
No, what's good that season I think was very nice. If you look at the maps at all, I see that only Felicia's map and Tia map was not nice. Felicia V map was they had V NSA on one side and T95 DB1 and another team they don't remember right now on the other side was they have some kind of power balancing, so the sides had similar power. But when you look at the power rank, almost all the powerful players was single sided. You see a huge power gap, about 20 players with more than one power, one side, playing at same side, and the other side don't have a single player with that amount of power. So it was kind of ridiculous to them, and the top tier team of one side can't face at all the top tier of the other side. It was a very big gap, but the power was theoretically the battle power was similar from both sides, but not good.
But even if we look outside of Eden, like just simply at the castles themselves, I made a video for any of my subscribers. You probably know it. Is how to get strong in Rise of Empires or how to get strong fast, something like that. Where I was discussing it exactly this of how a free to play player can do stuff to still manage to compete with the spenders. That was in the time where spenders had a point where there was nothing else to do, and even if you were a free to play player, you were much slower than the spenders, but at one point, you would get to the same level. Like before they put it, before they put DMs and Lofty, I remember a lot of the free to play players in my state were happy that they were finally getting close to be at the same level as the spenders. And then they put DM in, spenders was like, oh, let me just put those $40,000 in the game, have 5 DMs and shit on you, which was still fine because it was still doable. The DM had a big impact, but it wasn't that bad. Pablo, your shield just dropped and you are burning.
Again, again, no.
You already burned this morning.
Yeah. Let me check if he's telling the truth because it's possible.
When I messaged him this morning, he was like, "Bro, I just woke up. I realized my shield dropped and I have 30 attacks on me." This is the best part of the day when um
No, I'm sure that I'm sure. Fine. It's not me. It's not. I'm not burning this time.
But
Hello,
if
Trichet is from my team. He's a iPhone 95. He's an amazing guy. Play with me.
so even when the DM came out, I feel like the difference was not that big, and it was still manageable. Then they introduced Lofty Tech, Ole, which on one side you can say uh, it was still acceptable for free to play players. You're never gonna be at the same speed as the spenders, and but still looking at the extra points at the beginning before the first reset started, it was still manageable.
Yeah,
Then they added the extra reset, and then you started realizing how many extra stats start building up. Then they added the extra option for the lofty tech to give even more stats to the guys that really spend in the game. And then came the wonders.
yeah.
So
They had sensibility to place upgrades with a decent speed.
so at this stage of the game, like there's absolutely no chance. Like if a person wants to spend money in the game, there's absolutely no chance in hell as a free to play player you're gonna deal with him. And then we go to Eden, where there's so many more implications than something like a kill event, for example.
Yeah, I see that. I was trying to identify the we have on lofty skills. We have some kind of very big gap from the player who is under 70 points and who is over 70 points. It's a very strong game changer because you can use basically get all the bonus going up and down the loft skills, and also get some points on the top stuff that make a very big difference. Then after 70 points, I think the game kind of started balancing again. But see, I am playing the game for a long time, and I'm not a spender at all. I spent very few money on the game, and now let me see how much points I have on my castle. Uh, I have
Thank you
30.
for the tag in Eden, by the way, guys. Somebody
I
watching my bloody stream.
I have 32 points. So if me, I'm not a big spender at all, and very small spender. How can I face a guy with 99 points like Hell of 119? How Silky, you probably know him. He has about 100 points. How can I face him? It's ridiculous. He can
You
fart.
don't. But like, even if we look just at Lofty and DM, it's a big difference between free to play and spenders. But now with the wonders, they did like,
Yeah,
so let's look, because it was funny that even the spenders were crying about the wonders, because you had spenders that paid a lot of money to get to a certain point with their lofty tech, to a certain HP in their stats, and then comes a free to play player, because that's also a thing. A free to play player can invest in the statue of general and get more HP than you have. But
yeah,
if you have a spender that does that, plus the lofty, plus DMs and all the other bloody things you can put in this game, then there's not even a comparison anymore. It's just different bloody game. You just put like you just put a message above that castle and you say do not touch. Tile around it. That- it's like that there's no there's no
Well,
way.
I am a map against boss, you know, of 37, and some guys there. I'm pretty sure if they make a pet in front of my team, we'll tile around and ignore him because not worth it to try to
I
fight
mean,
the guy.
in all fairness, in Eden, most of the time you should actually do that. You should always avoid the big guys from the enemy guild. Like I really don't see the point of wasting your stamina, your troops, especially the low people that just join in the attacks because they think it's a good idea. Like no, that I made also that short video about hitting reinforcements from far, exactly in the same concept. Do not hit the guy that you know is gonna burn your troops for no reason. You're not gonna touch him, and especially if you have something like Lomen Hellfire Avalanche, say goodbye because you're not even gonna kill his troops to at least say you did something.
Yeah, yeah. That combo is ridiculous on the defense. We had some on our map. We don't face boss on our side. It was on the other side of the map facing NPD from 7-6. On our side, it was M from 133 and ZWE from 117 and another team, the X92 from S9, SM90, uh, and some other things that I don't remember. And when they try to steal things of us from far, was very easy. Just send one legend with GM using Lawman, Hellfire, and Avalanche, and game over. It's impossible to remove them from far. It's impossible.
Another stupid thing that I find right now in the game is the recovery heroes. It's just too much, and there's no actual counter. Like when I say counter, I'm talking specifically about defeating the guy, not the Legion. You can defeat the Legion of Loman Hellfire Avalanche or Loman Hellfire Warhammer, but you're not killing his troops. And if the guy has 400 million troop power, then that is the main Legion, and then another one to make sure you never get past the second one. Then he's not losing troops, he's killing your troops, and there's no real hero to stop the recovery. And like, where are we getting? Like
Yeah,
even in our Eden, we have, for example, somebody like Hell. Most of you probably heard of him.
yeah, no,
Uh,
a Brazilian guy. We talked about him a lot because he probably the strongest Brazilian on the entire game.
he has, let's say, a strong castle.
Yeah, a
if
little bit.
if I put that guy anywhere on the map, especially from a distance, I really don't care if three guilds are hitting him because nothing's gonna happen. Best case scenario, they're gonna surrender because they lost all their troops and the guy is still alive. So, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
This, like for example, one thing that I noticed is if I hit with my Archer Legion, I deal more significant damage than with my full Cav combo. Even though all my stats are focused on Cavs, because of the way that Archer combo works, I manage to always burn the entire front row, still lose the battle way more than I would lose with my main legion. But because I burned the entire first row, the next attack I know is gonna defeat it because you're fighting against two heroes instead of three. Instead
yeah.
of sending my main cavalry and maybe get close to defeating him, but casualty wise, I'm not doing shit because they're
And
recovering too fast.
that's why I am I mean kind of that's why the big results that you probably saw with the Rosenblade with Enforcer Hunter using Warden on the middle was a kind of big deal on adding, and also you can see Rosenblade, Spectral Reaper, and Sakura also two strong damage combo with what I call glass cannon. Glass cannon become a very big thing on the season because of the that destructive power that you can really nuke the front line, nuke the first legion, and maybe you can damage the second one. That become a thing. I saw players using that on my map. I started using very aggressive combos. Then I just did a small change that make me lose a little more troops, but uh, become still turn my castle a little very hard to beat. I placed a glass cannon combo on the defensive line. Not very much glass cannon. I use Hunk, Warden, and Spectral Reaper on the defensive legion. And then my second legion was using Lawman with Hellfire Avalanche. Then it was really hard to pass two legions, and means even me not be having a very big castle. I have a very small one, and it worked very well.
Yeah, like especially when we're talking about breaking reinforcements, if you have uh, especially if you're sending from long range, you're not gonna have the possibility of spamming attacks, so it's always gonna be those maximum 4 attacks that you can send. So sending the glass cannon first to make sure you burn the legion and then your main cavalry legion. So you can send either a good burning archer legion or, for example, beast queen combo works in the same idea. It
Yeah, yeah.
it does a lot of kills because of the entire debuffs and whatever the hell Brave does to them. It's pretty useless, but especially nowadays with the wonders that you have the extra chaos smite, you are dealing a lot of damage. So if you want to burn through a really strong reinforcement or a really strong castle, glass cannon first and then the strong cav legion, because let's face it, cavs are still the best.
That's usually when we try to make a coordinate attack. We had some not very much opportunity, but you have some opportunity to face some big lads on the north. So we had to coordinate it. We try to meet everyone meet together on the same time on the target. And usually the first legion I sent is the damage one. So we had some chance to melt a little bit of the defense. Then I sent some more consistent legion like Lauman, Hellfire, and Avalanche. If you see that Coley from 63 on the chat is talking about Lauman, Warhammer, Hellfire, probably very, very strong because
Because
Hellfire,
of the recovery. But if you send a glass cannon before the main legion hits, the glass cannon is gonna burn Lomen. Like every single time I send my archers, Lomen disappears, all his troops. So recovery means absolutely nothing because you don't recover the hero. You recover troops that were lost. So if you
yeah,
manage to burn the entire troops,
the problem of this Legion with glass cannon is because Warhammer is a demon with very strong damage Legion, and he don't what's his best counter in my opinion. It's when he meets Hangfire, Reinforced Ranger on the same row, then he will have a problem. When you see Lawman, Stitch, Bleeding Steel, and he first Ranger, no, and Warhammer, and then we have a very strong counter. But it's an amazing hero. Warhammer is a very powerful hero.
the thing is, recovery heroes work best on long term. So the longer the battle, the better for the recovery heroes. If you have anything that can burn one single row as fast as possible, then that's
Yeah, yeah,
what you want to send first before the second attack. It won't
yeah.
win you the battle, but it will ensure that you're gonna destroy the rest.
No, that's the main reason that what happened last season. Few people were using Reinforced Ranger. If you can remind, people was complaining a lot about her, and nobody's using her at all. It was a rock season, so whatever. Everybody was too busy to care about heroes. But on this season, I saw a lot of Ranger playing. A lot. Mainly because of the healing, I think. People were using a lot of Spectral Reaper and a lot of Reinforcing Ranger because of that potential of big damage that she can do.
I every single time I was hitting a guy, and I was sending my main cav legion, which is Brave, Warhammer, and Ava. I was always getting close to beating the guy, but never winning. And the casualties of each hit were never enough to get me a win the next time I hit and the next time I hit. But
Yeah.
if I would send something to burn through him before, then the second hit would definitely win.
Yeah. We will have that's the main point. We usually that strategy of using a glass cannon, it's always very useful on gauge fightings that you have your enemy garrison on the other side. Always the best choice is try to nuke with heavy damage. Then you try to melt the main strength of the garrison. Then you start to use more classic legends to harm them slowly, but winning at all. The main shoe is usually what we're talking. Try to keep the peak damage first. So it's like I usually try to compare like a Muay Thai fighting, that the one guy kick the chin of the other guy many times, then he start to punish the guy. Because if the guy can't stand it in 2 foot, they will not be able to fight. Strategy game at all, almost all the strategy game work the same way, and you always need to think like a Muay Thai fighter. You just need to identify what's the chin of what you need to do.
And if we're gonna talk about this type of things, let's talk about long distance hits. For anybody that doesn't know what a time attack is, it's when you put a timer on the person you want to hit so everybody reaches the same time with their attacks. Because if you just send attacks one after another on a strong guy from distance, you will never burn him, especially with all the recovery heroes.
Yeah,
Uh, you're wasting your stamina, way more of your troops, and yeah, it's just not a good idea. I'll probably have to make a quick guide regarding that because I tried to explain that in game to people of how to do a time attack, but it appears to be more complex than
it's,
than.
I can we can teach you now. I know if maybe someone of your guild is hearing us now. I don't know who, but you probably know who.
Uh,
We can we can ask the
Probably
people.
gone.
If he's hearing us, asking him to place a marker over your head to maybe see
The
for
timer.
35, for example, for 35 p.m. on the game, and we can teach the people how to work that. That's very useful technique. We use that a lot to steal gates. We this season we stole some very heavy gates. When people always tell that's lucky. That's no lucky on the game. Have some technique. If you apply that with some kind of perfection, okay, you get the gates. And we saw a lot of the gates using the same trick all the time. Uh,
But
Basically, you set a timer of the target, and the target will appear something like at least you have 7 minutes to start quote mode to start attack that gate. You have just to see how much time your troop will need to reach the target, and then you send your legion when the timer is according to the timer of your movement to your castle to the target will be I don't know, maybe 1 minute and 35. So you wait the time to reach 1 minute and 35, then you send your legion. So we will reach the gate when the timer is very near to zero, maybe
so
a little after or maybe a little bit.
let's simplify. Assuming this is our target, this level 14, you put a timer, the same type of timer you put on gates when the gate says there's 2 more hours until we take the gate. Same type of timer you put on the castle or the target you want to be attacking, and you always want to put enough time for the people to get ready. So let's say I put a timer of 15 seconds and the timer starts running down, and all you need to do is check how long it takes for your legion here to get to the target, and from their point on you just wait for the timer to get to that timer. So in my case 3 seconds, you press march, and if everybody does the exact same thing, it doesn't matter from where they attack, every single legion is gonna arrive at the destination in the same time. So even if you're attacking a player and he has the possibility of refilling his legions, uh, if you manage your times correctly and you send enough attacks, even one of the strongest can burn, because he's not gonna have the chance of reinforcing of refilling as fast as all the attacks hit in the same time.
Yeah.
And that's the way if you want to burn somebody. And if you try that once, twice, 3 times, 4 times and it still doesn't work, then you should definitely stop trying.
Yeah,
They are.
usually you can see that usually will work maybe near to the 20% of the nerve damage. Anything over 20%. 20 is already too much, okay? But it can work near 20%. If you have a very strong team like an NBB or Boss or whatever, then maybe you can go a little higher than that. But a normal team with around 20, 25, 30 G of power, then just avoid cross that line of 20% nerf. Then
Right.
you can probably burn the guy if he's not caught like guy.
So if you see, thank you for the timer gun, probably. Uh, as you can see around my castle, this is what you're going to be putting on the enemy you want to attack. Obviously, you're not going to be putting 27 minutes. You put something like 3 or 4 minutes, depending on from where everybody hits. If it takes like everybody's around that area, then you put a timer with like 1 minute above whatever time you have to attack, so that you make sure that everybody. So let's say 7 minutes, right? And then that means even people that are load, even
If you
if you're even if you're here somewhere, you're still gonna have enough time to synchronize with that attack. So if it
yeah,
takes me 5 minutes, stop it. If it takes me, for example, 2 minutes 40 to send for my attack to reach the destination, then I'm literally just looking at the timer, and when it gets 45, 44, 43, and I start preparing and I send the attack pretty much when the timer would hit my time. And if everybody does that, voila, everybody synchronizes their attacks and hopefully burn the target. But this is at least the most efficient way you can do it. If it doesn't work like this, then it doesn't work. But it's if you don't use this on long distance targets, especially strong ones, then you are just wasting stamina, time, troops, whatever.
like that's a very powerful trick to steal gates, steal targets. We use that a lot to steal targets, and works nicely. People always think about, oh, it's lucky. No, it's not lucky, but it's a lot of technique, a lot of math, and a lot of experience. We do that a lot since with our first healing. We noticed that we reach together, we can do about maybe 50,000 damage, 7,000 damage. So we just need to calculate to how can we reach over the last 50,000 damage together. That's the question. If your team is active enough to do 50,000 damage at 2 3 seconds, then we need to just to see to plan to reach together at the last 70 life of the target. It's ultra powerful to target, and that's how we gave a big headache on our map on Eden. We made a very strong aggressive playing on the east side because we stole two very critical gates that gave us access to the north, and we start to take strongholds and gates on the north side, and it was hard to them to manage our movement when they have to deal with an EB on the other side. Yet it's a ultra strong and active team, so uh, that kind of technique that make a good gameplay on the game. You the Rise of Empires, it's a very poor game of gameplay. You don't have a good player. Not it's not like a Street Fighter game, not like a FIFA or Counter Strike or Dota or League of Legends. You don't have a good gamer. Yeah, everyone's sucking on the game because it's a poor game. You have a castle that is stuck on the place and move it to 1.5 hours and attack with little horses from far, or whatever. There's no gameplay at all. But if you manage to use the team to coordinate stuff, then maybe you can take more from the gameplay experience. That's how you can reach a little far
I see.
using this kind
I see.
of
Observer said, but at the end of the day, if two alliances attacking at the same gate, is down to luck when you have 400 players attacking at the same gate. Just because 400 players are attacking doesn't mean 400 players are attacking in the same time, and that's the
yeah.
entire point. From 200 players from the enemy guild, you may be gonna have, let's be optimistic, 10, 15, 20 of them hitting in around 2 to 3 seconds, right? But
Yeah.
if you synchronize your entire guild to have 200 players hitting in those 2-3 seconds in the same time, then that luck is still there. I'm not saying you still have that one guy that la 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 and snipes it away, but you increase the chances by a big margin. And
Yeah.
that's the entire point, to not not wait for luck, but do everything to increase your luck chances.
And thank you to for that place the marker. You helped a lot.
Another thing is, I was gonna make a video probably. Okay, let's just discuss it. Let's discuss about my last Eden season, because there was one thing that was very important in the last part of Eden. Like from my personal experience, there's the resets you have until you unlock center area are not useless, but almost. I mean, the advantages you get from taking that gate, taking that area, pushing the enemy back, and so on, unless you actually push them away from this, like this gate, that, and this, then they still have a chance. They still have the same chance. Obviously, you're going to have increased chances, but they only need one gate in the center, and they only need one access to the center to still be in the game and still contest the season itself. But for example, we were at this stage. We had there's a gate here, right? We had access to this gate. We were positioned at this gate, and the enemy was positioned here. I'm talking about the main guilds, right? So what we did, we never intended to take this gate. We never had any intentions of taking it because the enemy was trying from here to get to this gate, the main guild from the south. And what we did mostly was make everything possible, everything in our power to destroy any paths that were getting closer to that gate. Even if we were sending attacks, like we were trying to clean out their tiles from here, but the main priority, the moment we saw a pad somewhere here, everybody was just sending attacks with everything they had to destroy that pad. And because of that, we forced the enemy to simply stay here. They were in a safe spot, but too far away from the entire thing, where we were very well positioned uh, to defend the area. And I've posted that funny video with a chicken fight. but but the main reason why that entire thing was possible was because our attacks, we had way more time to send another attack that they had to send another reinforcement. So it wasn't necessarily a matter of which guild was stronger. It was a matter that our position uh, won us that battle. And this is one thing that a lot of players don't put too much emphasis on. Like, we could have been like any other guild and just focus on all the red tiles around our castles and ignore the paths that were building slowly closer and closer to the gate, but we didn't. And because they never managed to build a path closer, we won that gate. More importantly, we postponed it because it was never the intention of winning that gate. We actually managed to, because we weren't letting them take it, we went from the side. Oh, this zoom out is really annoying. We went to the side, took this one, and then we had access to the gate on this side, which means we could position much more aggressively without worrying that we're getting attacked. And we had also tiles on this side, so we can break their connection if they try to take it. But my biggest point is, why the hell was the main legion from the south there in the first place? So the south had access to two gates. This one where I was explaining how we managed to get a better position than them, and this one where nobody was contesting them because we had no connection in that area. So here they put a secondary guild to get the gate and tile towards the center, and their main guild was positioned here trying to get this one when we had a better position. In our side, we had our secondary legion here taking this gate towards the center. So pretty much similar to what they were doing here, but the difference was our main guild was also taking this gate. So we had access from our main guild to the center if we wanted to.
Oh,
But
that's a point very important. You could attack two gates. It was something that you could coordinate, that placing a strong group with active guys fighting for the control of that area, and you could get three players with just footmen taking a gate with 100,000 damage per minute. So you don't need all the players being part of a tile fight, as you are just trying to control the area and delay the conquest of that gate by your enemy. So don't change anything. Just cut the path, cut the access, and we get time. You don't need it even to hit the gate. Until you have a good shot to steal that gate, you could only try to break the garrison and get control and nothing else. As your friend was taking the gate on the other side and guaranteeing the first a fast entrance to the temple and very fast speed without no harm and no big efforts.
from my perspective, the reason why South lost this season was simply because of that one mistake of choosing to put their main guild, and main guild also means much more devoted players, much a better system, and so on. Like from here to there, it doesn't matter how fast these sides are, you're still gonna manage to get there on time to at least contest the gate. So,
Yeah,
but they put a secondary guild. This one, the main guild, didn't achieve nothing because we didn't let them. Uh, our secondary guild went in, tiled to the center gate, and tiled to the side gate here. The Their secondary guild tiled also to this gate, and to make it even better, started taking it. So how do you want to take that gate, which has, I think, 1,200,000 durability from here to there, after you already took this gate as a secondary guild? Because it's important to focus the fact that it's a secondary guild, because you're not going to have dedicated players as you would have in a main guild. You're not going to have players that save their stamina because they know it's a important objective day at reset. You're not going to have everybody wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to take that things that you would expect from a main guild that wants to bloody win the event.
yeah,
And that's exactly what happened. They started taking the gate from this distance, and they did 200,000 demolition to the gate in the first 15 minutes. They did 150,000 in the next 15 minutes. So you were at 350,000 after the first half hour, which is insignificant. But then you want to do what? Another 900,000 in the next half hour before everything heals up. They
yeah,
were at it was 5 minutes left, or yeah, 5 minutes left, and 400,000 uh, durability still left on the gate. For God knows what reason, our secondary guild decided to attack the gate also. If they wouldn't, there's no hell that they would have finished in the next 5 minutes until the troops recover and the gate is lost for them. But our secondary legion decided to kick in because they thought that they actually had a chance. Thankfully, luck, speaking of luck, they got it. But again, this is something that you find from a secondary legion. Like a main legion would have just tiled to the two gates and started building pads. You're not in a in a position to risk it at the moment, and you don't have the stamina or the position to do it from the distance because you just did this gate.
yeah. No, it's
And
they could do when we had the first faction meeting was again stage 47, and FMF from SC1, S2, sorry, and they amazing players. They had a guy leading the team that I think is called Xian, amazing guy. That guy don't sleep. Pretty interested with him. Where we knew that our guild was the strongest one on the map on the other side, and we have the responsibility to get control of the center. And we noticed that we were weaker. We were weaker, but we were more active guys. We have more active players. These guys were able to play 24 hours a day and was a little crazy. It's only crazy guys. That's the only requirement to my team. Oh, you are crazy. Okay, maybe will be recruited. You are not crazy, so go to other team because only crazy guys can be. Then we asked it to the secondary guild give the damage to the gate. Okay, we don't had we didn't have enough people to get one gate and get a second gate. It was a very small map back in this time. We had about north had about 50 G of power and south had about 30 G of power. So it was like one alliance today have more power than that. And we asked the secondary guild to just unleash tons of damage on the gate, and were only give the last maybe 100 to 200 uh, damage on the gate. Was a very smart choice because we need only about 4 or 5 guys making path close to that team, and the secondary team give the damage to the gate. We took ours, started to making path to try face 47 and S2, and they gave the damage to the second gate, and we just steal quotes steal the gates from our own faction to get access to that area. Then we
This is
start.
actually a really powerful thing that very few guilds actually use. And even us, we should have done that because you're always gonna have main guild, secondary guild, which is still good. Maybe third one is still alive, but the rest are, let's face it, useless. It's
Yeah,
always
yeah,
like that on any map.
yeah.
But like for example, we had one guild, secondary guild here. We could have used one or two other secondary guilds to this gate to, as Pablo said, take it down, and then we would just snipe it at the end, tile as fast as possible to the center area, take the center gate, and then tile as fast as possible to this area. And then at this point, because we did that last Eden actually, yeah, last Eden it was exactly that. We tiled much faster before the enemy could even get there on time. We took this gate, we took the lower one, and they managed with the secondary guild to take this gate, which meant nothing. But if you tile fast enough and if you use your secondary guilds, even if you don't expect them to do much, anything they do, you don't have to. And dealing damage to a gate is the easiest thing you can ask from a secondary guild. Tiling
Yeah.
is the worst part. Another thing that gets really underestimated uh, is the tiling speed. A lot of people know what it takes to tile fast on an Eden map or on a rock map, but very few actually dedicate themselves for it. And by dedicate, I mean, as the leader of your guild, you need to make sure that you have the specific players online with everything required to make sure that the tiling team is gonna explode from the second you need them towards the objective. And for example, we didn't have the secondary guild help us here, but we still took that gate and we still managed to build pads way faster than any of the secondary guilds even reached the center area. Which, let's say, if we would be in a contest and this would they would actually go to contest this one, we would already go in the center and have the possibility to contest this gate if they wanted to go for it. And that's simply because of the how fast and how dedicated the tiling team was compared to a guild that didn't put enough emphasis. Like
You
no
used to
no
play on TTO or you changed it your team?
check.
What alliance are you playing now? I don't. I remember that you played on Ion and TTO.
Invictus, so the old LXL.
Ah, okay.
L- LXL combined with Tuto and Forum. Well, we kind of combined both. We switched one guild to one alliance to become stronger, and the
Yeah,
rest
no.
that were in the mood of rock.
Invictus is strong as hell. It's strong as fuck.
But that's another thing that I really see, especially from unexperienced guilds, that even though they know exactly that you should be using tier 1 on empty tiles, S1 heroes to increase the speed, speciality for increasing speed, national quest cards for increased speed, so you tile as fast as possible to your objectives, very few use it. And very few leaders make sure that they have the necessary players for that. I prefer to have uh, especially if you have a main castle as your banner. I think you can, especially at this stage of the game, have a banner that also has the spec for increased speed, because you don't need that many points extra for that. National quest cards is easy also, and then just somebody with S1 heroes. You need two, three players, and then you dominate the entire map because you're always going to be faster than your enemy at the objectives, especially at the first reset where you start getting access to the sides, whereas the first time you encounter your enemy, talking about these sides. Here, if you have a good tiler, you're gonna get to these type of gates, and then be, you even contest this one against, like, obviously not talking about the same level of guilds, but if the enemy guild is not prepared and you have a good tiling team, you're gonna contest every single time all their gates.
Yeah, and it's always I say to my players, when you try to steal a gate, you were spending one shot to maybe running an entire day of work to someone. So it's a very cheap trial. I always tell them we stole two critical gates this season with just one shot. And we tried to steal I think more two gates with the same strategy, and we didn't get it. And I always say, bro, it's real expensive. One shot with on legend will be 40 4 attacks. With banner, we talk about 20 stamina points. To maybe we'll finish this season of the guy because one gate can kill entire season. That's strong gates of level 3, level 5 gates. One level 3 gate that you get, maybe you will literally cancel the season of these guys because they can't defend. What happened to North was very hard to do. I usually sit with my wife, we play together, and we discuss what would I do if I was playing on North and we lost that gate like they did today, and have very few answers. How much less answers that you have, it's bigger the problem. And always the answers it was followed by some comment like, I would do that, but when I do that, my enemy will do probably that one thing, and I'm fucked. And I was a situation was the North teams was so they they did some choice they had also problems. We have Russian team on North. They had Halifax Power. It was the top three alliance on the top four alliance on the map on the North. In It's a Russian alliance. They had about 30 Ukrainian guys, and sadly they had an issue with all the stuff they're running on the country. Uh, but anyway, we try to get access to the north. Then, when we reach the north area and start to meet back to their capitals, neutral, no, empty capitals, then we give a very big problem to the team, the big team on the other side that has to deal with NBB, which is probably one of the best teams of the game. You can't seem turn your back around to the NBB to block a S95 team because we have great players, but NPB is bigger. If you let NPB gain territory, it's very bad to remove them. They are like they plant a very big tree on a lens, and think you will remove it using a small knife. It's very hard to make it then hit. So was a very interesting situation, and we the game is made of choices, and that trial to just try to take a gate. You always have to have a plan to. If I don't get that gate to reach and make it, maybe I want to be at last the guy who will try to give the last hit on it. And I had situation on that map that happens no choice. We look at it and we think if you don't try to, we don't try to take that gate now, they will make pads and try to get it very close, and we'll have much less chance to steal it. And thanks God's worked, and we got the gate. Buzz was kind of lucky. I don't think that's real lucky. Was kind of very well coordinated. We gave about 100,000 damage on the last hit. Was a very strong attack that we planned, but we could lost. We could lost because they were closer, they were ready, they tried to steal, and they are awesome team. So, but the math always play a little better.
I mean, there's definitely a luck
Yeah,
factor in Eden. So, I mean, I had one season, I don't remember which one it was, in Eden, where really unlucky, like literally every bloody gate, even when we had like 60 people in front of the gate and two people on the other side, the fuckers somehow bloody steal it every time. Like you just wanted to uninstall the game, not because you didn't have a chance to win that season, but it was so frustrating that no matter what you do, you just lose the gate, and then you have to keep tiling in the disadvantage that the enemy always has a better position and they're safe uh, from the wall, which is something that definitely Rise of Empires could fix. I find it like the most stupid things regarding Eden is the luck factor. The fact that the gate is or the objective is taken by the last person hitting, which just makes it into a and whoever is the last guy that throw the axe. Where you
we
could
I saw I have my season that we faced it 47, and we had a very funny situation. We had a level 2 gate that we hold the entire season, the second guild across that gate. It was a very boring situation because we had always to have about 15 guys close to that gate just to break garrison and try to make a swap and a gate swap with some guild of our team. So was a terrible situation, bro. I really boring because it was a level 2 gate. If we lose that gate, we lose control of a big area. It would be terrible to us. So we was very far. We were very far from that gate. That gate was not under my control, and we were about I don't know maybe 500 kilometers away, and I was hopeless about the gate. I was watching the guild taking the gate from fire, and making math and my calculations points that the guys will finish the gate in around 5 minutes. So I said to my team, anyone that's under 5 minutes, please send that troop. Nobody was everyone was like 7 minutes, 8 minutes, but one girl, one wonderful girl, no, one goddess. That player is awesome. Her name is Mira from a team. I love her. It's a love song. We play together since S2, and I really appreciate it. She's very loyal and always helpful, and I have no word to say about her. come back into the situation. What she was one of the closers. She said the truth, and was tons of troop of enemies arriving to the gate, and her only single troop hit the gate and still the gate. Was
Like
something.
in moments like that, you just want to say, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm gonna go play some
When
bloody Candy Crush.
she stole the gate with
It takes
one
more
single
skill in
shot,
Candy Crush than here.
everyone was looking. What? The season finished few days after that. What I think the day after, I don't know if it was very close to the finish, the final of the season, because that gating stealing for was absolutely epic. Because we nobody was close, bro. Was just she, and she that was a very lucky shot, but it happened to us. That was awesome. Nobody has to that season. I stayed under 40 million powers about 3 or 4 weeks. I had no troops, though. I had no T2. EMM from SC47 melt my troops. They finished with all our troops. By Alliance was the top one of 96 with about, I think, 15 million powers, maybe, 50 G, G powers. And we finished the season under 8G. We had nothing. We had only hope. We had
But
our spirit fighting and no troops. Isabella and the workers was my fulfilling my allegiance. I don't have, had anything else to do. Every day I try to build uh, one single legend to try to take a gate or have a time fighting because I had nothing. I don't have footman. I don't have anything else to fight. I thought it was my best season so far. Was the best challenge because it was the first season on the fossil bracket, the dinosaur bracket, when 96 joined to 88, and we had a awesome challenge against my friend Iceman from 47, Chian from FMF, Jaffu is a god of S2. He's probably one of the strongest players there. Absolute massive castle, and his seat beside the throne. And we almost gave up when we saw his seat beside the throne because he had 1G power. That guy had more troops than my entire alliance. When he sit there, we hit
but
him every day, every day, every day. When he left the center, he had about 150 million powers. But it was amazing season. Was big massive.
that's for me is the best example for when people talk about skill. Like what skill when your entire season is dependent on that stupid attack that was under 5 minutes that reached in front of all the other entire guild? Like, how can we talk about skill?
Yeah,
It's this game requires money. Best case scenario, a bit of knowledge. But from my perspective, as long as everybody has access to that knowledge, with the help of some amazing YouTubers, um,
yeah,
everybody's equal. So we cannot talk about skill because skill means if I put two players with the same knowledge, the better player wins. But you don't have that better player because knowledge is not a skill.
yeah.
You don't have a thing where one player like the most close thing that I see to skill in Rise of Empires is teleporting fast during kill events and the people that make the strategies in Eden. And only those people. We're talking about the R5s and R4s. Because let's face it, the rest of the map is just following what they do. It's not your skill. You can have also skill in a person that tiles good.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but if I compare it to everything else out there, you start appreciating the proper tilers that know how to make a path as fast as possible. But that's it. Like when you don't give me Ackerley and you tell me that he has that much power and that many kills and tell me he's a great player. No, that just means he has a lot of power and a lot of kills. That's it. That doesn't define you as a
Uh,
strong player.
let's talk about Paco or about CSM. No, Carly is not a good name. Actually, after that video, he farming kills.
I've thrown the Ackerley there because I've seen him in the chat here.
I don't talk about him because it's really annoying. Many stuff about this guy. I better not create polemic around this guy. It's a complicated situation.
For
But
example, CSM.
yes,
CSM was not the fact that he was a spender and because his castle was strong. There's hundreds of strong castles in Rise of Empires. And when I say strong, I mean literally maxed out. What the hell else can you do on it?
yeah,
And that doesn't mean everybody's a great player. CSM was good because besides having a strong castle, uh, he was always looking how to improve, trying different type of legions, a great leader, which does require some skill, you know.
sharing
Uh,
a lot of knowledge. CSM was the RoE god. Nobody even close to what its value to the community. Sadly, was is not played anymore.
I mean, at the end, it's a strategy war game. So the name, the type of the game kind of says what you need to be a great player in the game, a good strategist. And like, especially when we're talking about kill event, if I see the classical moment where the big spender sits in there and doesn't move at all and everybody's hitting him and just you just see the chats being like, oh my god, that guy is the strongest guy in the world. No, he's stupid. Like unless there's other small castles attacking him for no other reason which makes them more stupid, the spenders that are attacking him, even though they are not burning him, are scoring more points for their state than the guy taking the hits. It doesn't matter if he doesn't burn. The person attacking is gonna get more points in the kill event than the person defending because you get. Let me show you. Where is it? Crush your enemies. You have.
I will ask you, Kalisto, then to if you can, after share your screen with me on the call, will be better because I don't see. I see you always late when you open the window. You are always looking the window. You can close also the call. Have a little small arrow that you can close your window if you want to.
Which window?
On the call window, on the you have beside your where it should be your camera. You have a small arrow that you can click on it and will close.
Where are you?
Place the mouse over it. You can see.
No, I don't.
But then after that, after when we finish here, I can show you.
Yeah, if you can see here, you get extra points when you are the attacker for troops you lose, which the defender does not get. So even if the attacker gets a bit more kills than even the defender gets a bit more kills than the attacker is still gonna get more points for his state than the defender. So it doesn't matter if your big spender has 10 G points if he gave 15 G points to the enemy state. Like that does not make you a great strong person, that makes you an idiot. And a smart spender, I'm not expecting every spender to just log in into the kill event and just teleport left right and try to avoid absolutely every hit, because what's the point of having 6 legions there with maxed out heroes and 5 DMs? But sitting there and taking hits from people that you know are similar to your level is bad for your state. If you're
Yeah.
gonna sit, when you see all the little guys trying to hit you, sit, let them hit you because they're just burning their troops and giving points to your state. But when you see the big guys starting to send hits, move. That's a smart kill event player.
Yeah. Oh, one thing that a lot of people do, I don't like, but it's a trick. That's playing on garrison. Yeah, we call it pentlas. We call it pentlas in Brazil. People play pentlas and remove all the garrison. So we will always be burned, but we will be burned giving our every time 2,000 troops, 200,000 troops, and never will be a full burn like 1 million troops on one hit. So it will be a little better. If you are fast on teleport, then maybe useful. I'm not very much a KA guy. I usually play just first hour, maybe less, and then I go sleeping or watch a movie or talk. But I never spend too much time because it's boring. There are no mechanic. I like mechanical games. I
You mean
was
teleporting around is not an interesting mechanic?
I am used to play MOBA games, the MOBA games like Dota and League of Legends. I like that a lot. So I see the poor mechanics of Resident Evil Paris. It's ultra boring. People ask me to, oh, do a KA live, and I say, what what you can see on KA live, bro. There is nothing. There, there is nothing. What the most interesting thing you will see on a KA live, it's you see someone that you know, like, oh my God, that's Kalistos. Oh, that's Pompeo. Oh, and that's nothing more than that. Except that, everything else is very boring.
Regarding the Angarrison, because there was a lot of discussions regarding, I think, the last kill event that I posted where I was showing about the Angarrison. So, is it boring for a kill event when everybody's playing Angarrison? Yes, it is. Is it smart if you have absolutely no other legion than your class to play Garrison?
Yeah, no, you can't
I
play.
mean, uh,
If you have just one legend, then it's better you play on Garrison. It's hard
let
to
me
have someone you
let me
want.
show you my legions and like tell me if I should. So I have Beast Queen combo, which let's face it, at this stage of the game, everybody's gonna burn it down. I have my main class legion, which is this one, and then all
You
these
have to
wannabes. Because
say because it's not appearing 2 minutes from now.
oh, sorry. So I have the Beast Queen legion, which is gonna be burnt. I have the Brave Warhammer Avalanche as my main class legion, which is
Yeah.
the one I used to attack. So a lot of the time, it's not even gonna be inside my castle.
Okay.
And then I have fillers. I have an army that is maxed, but I cannot use him with anything else because my lawman has 5 skills. My ranger is almost at 7 skills. My Rangar, son of whatever, is at 5 skills. So I like what should I use and why would I use it? If you
Yeah.
have legions and it's worth it, then use them. I would personally have all my legions garrisoned and want to do more kills and not burn every time and not lose more troops because I get the casualties and so on. But I don't have the heroes. So why would I be stupid enough to garrison? Like when I hit a player and I see he has 5 legions of normal heroes, I'm like, dude, it's like bloody Christmas. It's like you you just want to put your head in it and like what the hell?
Yeah, yeah,
It
no.
makes no sense.
It's a very hard situation. When you have no choice, when we have few options, then it's a problem. Of course, it's a problem. It's what I always say. Low spenders will have problems to choose. You can be a good player. That's why I say that you still have ways to have a good gaming experience, have victory, have fun. If you are a light spender or almost a free to play, it's very hard to have fun if you don't have at least a VIP shop. Yeah, VIP shop is very much needed. It's very hard to play without it. But even without VIP shop, I know players that do very well without VIP shop. I know a guy that have 2 DMs, have about 300 million troops, have some very nice heroes, almost like mine. Because it has a little bit of luck, okay, but he has almost the same heroes as I have. Uh, and he is a full free to play player. I the only time he had, he migrated to 95 to me, and almost all the tickets what I take to him, I bought to him, I almost say pass, I did buy to him, yeah, and he had one season that he took a elite challenge, and that's it. The castle didn't spend about less than I'm sure, pretty sure that it spent $100 on almost 3 years in playing the game, 2 years and a half in the game. So and he has fun. He's a good player. He helps a lot. He's very active. So I say it's possible to have a good experience being a free to play. Yes, but you have require a lot of efforts, very much more than a light spender player. Very much more. You have to be better than the mid spender 10 times and be understand the game much more and be wise when you choose to spend your vouchers and always think very much about living in a state and be very wise with migration to always be playing on the same team, be wise a lot, have a lot of wisdom when choose your leadership. That's a fucking
Pretty much that it's the decision making that helps
yeah,
you survive as a free to play player. Like for
yeah,
example, don't be like Kalistos and burn 80,000 million power because you're trying to do a bloody kill event for your YouTube channel because you're gonna need those troops for Eden the next season and stuff like that.
yeah. You have to be a little wiser than Callisto's own kill event to be a low spender. That's the point. But it's possible. I saw on my team. I have a very very close friend on V. It's Evaldo, his name. He's always say to me, he has some players that spend very very few on his team and the top tier team. V probably is under the top five complete team. I'm not talking about battle power only because battle power is not a very accurate way to make master power. But if you look 78, uh, boss, MPB, area, uh, V, probably maybe that's from S17. Uh, they are top tier teams with good strategists, some big spenders, and a good activity level. He's playing on V from 78. It's awesome team from CSM, of course. Uh, and he also is it's possible to have fun with low spending or mid or almost no spending. But it's not the same
But
stuff. It's not the same stuff. You have to play a little more on the backstage. You have more use making paths and hitting structures and will be fooling your enemy on a tiny fights than garrison tile. You cannot garrison tile when you try to garrison tile and someone with 2 billion kills will try to hit you and will hit you with two. Even the troops it's inside your castle die when you look the guy. So
I mean, it's again, as you said, you have to be smart about it. Even like, for example, my castle is not a strong castle. The 338 million kills I have kind of show that the castle is okay. For example, if I garrisoned in this Eden, I was actually repelling a lot of the hits. But when a spender from the enemy guilds was hitting me, bloop. And at that stage, if you see the same spender hitting again, just recall your troops, bro. Like, you're not helping nobody unless there's some pad that needs to be finished and you really need to sacrifice everything to save that pad so the player can port in. Then just don't. If it's just a normal tile war, then let him bloody take the tile because you're just gonna give him extra kills and waste your troops while he's still taking the tile. So you're not helping nobody, and that's the part where you need to, as a free to play player especially, learn your weakness, learn your place. You're
learn the
not
place.
I think that's the best way to put it. You're not gonna ever beat the current spenders. You're we're not even close to that. Best case scenario is when you hit somebody your own level and you're happy. Yay! Especially if you, yeah, like
Yeah,
there's
you
there's a
need to play
limit.
smarter. That's the point. You need to be a lot smarter, uh, because we have smart spenders. That's the problem. Usually, is not only the spenders. The spender may be a problem when we talk about the battle experience. Yeah, but the smart spender is a very big problem. When you see a guy from, I know guys that spend around $200 a week. It's a lot for my country. It's a minimum wage. So, but when you talk about big spenders, that guy is a very little guy. Yeah, because some guys spend around 2,000 for each week. So someone that spends less than maybe 500 each month, it's a small spender. It's an impressive number, but it's maybe not a very big spender. Uh, you have to play smarter. That guy who will spend around maybe 300, 400 each month and choose wisely when to spend it, that guy's a problem. That guy's the big problem because he can break the game. Uh, I will not say names because it's friends from other states or players even from my own team. But I know guys that do that. They don't spend more than 200, 300 each month, and really they can face a guy that spends 1, 2,000 a month. It's sad, even sad to tell what he can do with someone that spends almost nothing like me.
And because there's also a lot of players that use their money as to compensate for the lack of knowledge in the game.
Yeah.
Let's not say anything else, but like you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like for example, you don't know which heroes to invest in, so you just pay to get them all. um,
I know guys that do that. I receive PMs of some guys that really buy everything that appears and then ask you how can they use that. And sometimes they don't have even an answer. I say only pro, try lucky because you can mix anything of that and to still work because you are tons stronger than anyone else. So you garrison with anything and you will beat everyone because well you
for
spent a
example,
lot.
my castle, I still follow the same theory I was explaining in how to get stronger faster back 1 year ago. I'll focus on one single troop type, focus on one single legion, one single equipment. I have one DM set, and that's enough because I only use my class legion. I have one main legion that I use. I have a second one that I'm playing with when I run out of calves, but that's because I run out of calves. And that's still enough for me because I have my Lofty also focused only on cavalry. That's enough for me to burn medium castles and still
Yeah,
do a lot of damage to not so big spenders. I'm not gonna go to very big spenders because I'm not touching those guys. But still, this is what a free to play player has to do to stay relevant and actually enjoy the game. Because
yeah,
if I would try to get it, like for example, now I have Warhammer with 7 skills. Hellfire came out, which kind of pisses on Warhammer. Let's face it. Like it's a totally different league. But instead of starting to spend my tickets to get Hellfire because that's the better hero, I'm not gonna spend all my tickets to maybe get one copy of Hellfire and stick him up my butt. I prefer to finish Hellfire and Warhammer and actually have a Legion to use. And then start investing in Hellfire, which most probably till then they're gonna release 3 more heroes that are better than him, but that's a different story. But this is the way a free to play player should think. Wait for the big ones, like for example when Avalanche comes out, go for it with everything you have, and until you got Avalanche, there's nothing else having a bigger priority. Then when Warhammer comes out, go for Warhammer, or if you really are that stingy, you wait for Hellfire. But you don't try to take everything, and the same goes for Token Shop. The less you invest in as many heroes as possible, the more tokens you have to get your main heroes much faster.
And you always, one thing that is very important, always try to to follow the better team that you can do on your stage. Because if you have a good team with a nice leadership, you can get some better prizes and make a very big gap.
Or if you're
And
Kalistos and you have absolutely no luck at hero pulls, you
I,
get eight. How many rewards do we get this season? I think six, eight.
they're probably 6 to 8, depending on your ranking on your team.
Still, I really get a feeling it.
I I can say it's something that I have. I'm not a superstitious guy. I'm a math guy, and I try to get math. But my first seasons, all my three first seasons, I used to record me open my super vouchers, my prizes, and always very shitty. Then on season 4, I didn't record it, and I got three armor breaker from the season 4, and two white walkers was a very good draw. Then I never more record my open because they call the curse of the recorder. If you
There's a lot of these things happening in the
it's
game with.
it's the curse of the streamer, bro. If you stream or record your voucher opening, you will be fucked because it's a curse. The
I
YouTube
had an
don't like it.
argument. I had an argument with a guy on Discord regarding his strategy of how to 100% get orange heroes from your pulls. And he was explaining to me that if you pull 10 normal tickets, then 10 purple tickets, and then 5 seconds later 10 orange tickets, you always get 100% in orange, and it's a foolproof method. And I was trying to explain to him, bro, trust me, literally every single Rise of Empire player after 1 year and something of playing has already been through all this voodoo shit already. Like there's only that many tickets you're gonna waste, get absolutely nothing until you get desperate enough to start wearing your underwear, the other way around, to maybe get some luck, step into some shit before you use your super schools and whatever the hell else of a method you're gonna use. But the luck is still gonna be the same. There is no special wannabe secret whatever method. There's only VIP shop and a lot of super tickets.
Yeah, no, that's true. There's no luck in this game. It has a curse, okay? A curse of the streamer. Each has. I always I start to record and everything's running very fine. Okay, since I don't have to record my stuff, good luck to you and to all the
There
YouTubers.
there are a few things that actually exist. Like for example, with the token shop, I've noticed this myself and I tested multiple times to be sure, is that the moment you reach 1000 tokens, you start getting less to no uh, 5x5 type of fragments. So the game, the moment he sees you have 1000, you're gonna get uh, only 20x or very, very few x5 fragments offers in the token shop. That is something I tested multiple times just to make sure, and it is like that. So the game actually does have certain things implemented where when they see you have some, or you when they see you need something, that's the time where you're not gonna have it. For example, if you get to 170, 180 fragments on your hero, from that moment on, you're gonna stop receiving 5x fragments for that hero. Even the 20x are becoming rarer, but 5x, it's literally just gonna start vanishing. So if a smart thing that you want to be doing is every time you get those free fragments from the events, that event where you buy the seasonal hero tickets and you get also the fragment one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, No, I always had, I had a player, a lovely player that a few time ago that stopped to play. That he always when he was close to 180 fragments, he always searched for the to enter the 1,000 coins option because always was much faster.
It
It's
comes,
how
but it comes in 1 year. Like it literally just disappears. So what I always do is I save those fragments specifically for that. I get to 170, 80. I buy a 20x fragments. I use the fragments from my inventory, and voila, I get the hero. And I don't wait another year until they give me that last five fragments.
makes sense. Makes sense. I have these fragments. I have a huge amount of it, but I don't use because the heroes I need a lot. The heroes that I have very few needing. I'm not buying anymore. Like I have uh, Reinforced Ranger. I was with 120 Reinforced Ranger fragments. Then I got one prize of this each. And then I don't need anymore. I can't suspend my X tickets, my the hero fragments like that one. I never spend that. I always save that shit because
Uh,
when finally think, oh, I will spend it, the hero don't appear, or I get the prize, or I pull the hero from a random stuff. Always same stuff.
So considering this thing with the token shop, I can assume that the developers from the game did that a lot all over the game. Like there's a lot of places where the moment the game sees that, for example, you are maxed out on that hero, you're gonna get a more increased chance of getting that hero because they know you're not gonna use it for nothing instead of
Yeah.
the hero that you need. So I presume there's a lot of this stuff implemented in the game. Nothing proven, nothing that I can say for fact it's like that. But from my experience, at least from the token shop, that's how I felt. But just because that might exist doesn't mean that there's also a thing that increases the chances. Like why would the developers be stupid enough to do anything to increase the chances of you getting the hero you want? That's the money maker in this game, the fact that you cannot get those heroes you want.
Yeah. And I always think that was enough to them money to to try to drain money via hero, the two heroes. But and then they create wonders, then they create lofty and always new stuff that bring a lot of money. Because if lofty was cheap or was very slow to upgrade, even spend money, okay, would be nice. But the power gap is ultra fast. See, I did one reset with some of my skills. I can't do many resets because I will run out of medals and run out of research to do. And some spenders that are resetting the third time I think or fourth time, and I don't know. They reset a lot of stuff. So it's a gap that's big and it's growing. The only stuff that is a little give a little piece, it's because I see that can't be a very wide gap because when you reach around the 90 points, we'll get the top skills and the top skills that make the big gap. And all the other points you spend on lofty, it's nice. Okay, give a gap, give you some gap, but not it's not ultra huge. The big problem is that skills on the top, the right side of the top, the left skills. That's no sense.
Yeah, pretty much. That's where the entire spender limit kind of surpasses from better than you to goodbye.
People always ask me when I start the game, what should I do? And my answer is uninstall this shit. And uninstall the shit. Don't play anymore. Go go play League of Legends, bro. You spend less, you have more fun, and you meet more people.
You have more fun. And like for a person that actually plays a lot of League of Legends, no. That game is the most frustrating game I played in my entire life and still is. Why am I still playing it? God knows why. But but fun is not something you correlate with League of Legends. It's competitive. Yes, that's what attracts the player, but no fun. There's nothing fun when you're 10 kills and the top laner just goes like GG AFK. Ta-ta! Play the game.
GG. I know a couple of guys that have his name like a personage, like character, and or AFK, like Zed or AFK. It's his nickname. If you ban Zed, then he will play AFK. AFK. He will not play.
In the past
I,
few months that I played League of Legends, literally every single game was the exact same story. 10, 15 minutes into the game, if we don't dominate them and they surrender, then we surrender. But nobody wants to play the bloody game. It's like, what the hell? So yeah,
that's
fun. League of Legends, fun. But um, do we wrap it up, Pablo? Do you have anything else that you want to talk about now?
I think we dive some matters. People have almost no answers. Let's check the chat if we have someone asking something. Maybe
You
we
should
have
check the
some.
chat because my chat is frozen.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Uh, uh, I've looked to the earlier message. A guy saying that he do that a lot too on his map. He play on map uh, 70. Fuck God has 70 maps on the league, and he was synchronizing attacks too. Nice. Read Ritu Mazumba, probably someone of the is. Uh, what's all the day? Back to Nola. Okay. It's worth in compared to topic of with 70 teams. That when you get to the temple, we will not have the last players being able to take them. I didn't get the question. Observers asking something about the 16 tiles, but I'm not getting much as I want to know. Uh, and there's no people asking anything. It was a good chance to people start talking, start asking stuff. But I think we took the main three topics that we was talking about. That was what make a good player. We talked about it. We talk about how can you have fun or if you can have fun as a low spender free player. Yeah, have some chances if you are very wise.
The pay to win gap.
Patreon gap. It's very complicated. And one topic that we didn't get into so well. It's the best way to spend and stay competitive, or how to be a wise low spender. That we didn't talk very much about.
Well, that sounds like a good topic for next coming video.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
Because
can have
if
another
if we
conversation.
talk about everything, guys, then we're finished. We just don't install the game and we go home. So we need to keep some topics alive. But for anybody that's still live with us, thanks for checking in. Thank you, Pablo, for joining in the conversation, and hope you guys enjoyed it.
See
If
you.
you have any ideas for the next stream, topics that you want to be discussed, please leave it in the comment section on this video, and we'll see you guys in the next
Like the video.
videos.
Don't forget share the video and like it too.